All right. Well, welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. This time we're talking about Ferraris, but what's really cool is we're talking about Ferraris as it relates to their annual experience. So to help me cover this, because it's not just a show and it's not just this, that, or the other, it's everything. I have Erik Swensson. Erik, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Appreciate the call.
Yeah, I really appreciate you being on. We connected through a fellow friend, Leslie Blinn, who's running the judging aspect for the Concours. And she said, you know what, there's a lot more going on than just my little show as part of the festivities. So she introduced the two of us, and I'm so glad she did because this is quite a big event that you have going on in Oregon. So if you would kind of give us an overview of what's happening and when, just broad strokes, and then we'll dive into it a little bit more.
Okay, sure. Well, the event is the Ferrari Club of America 2023 annual experience. Each year, the Ferrari Club of America, which includes both Canada and Mexico, has an annual event called the Annual Experience, and they go to different places around the country. Some of the criteria in order to host an event is that you have to have a good venue, good hotel, convention center, things of that sort, as well as a track, because part of the annual experience is a 2-day track experience for those who want to do tracking. Not everyone does. And then this year we have something that's never been done before is we have added on to the 4-day annual experience a 2 to 4 day driving experience called Drive Oregon 2023. This year's annual experience is hosted by the Northwest region, and the region has been putting on Drive Oregon for about 5 years now. These are multi-day drives. Usually we drive over 1,000 miles. And so we know that Oregon's kind of not close to anything. It's not close to New York. It's not close to Miami, Dallas, Chicago, big areas, a lot of cars. Even California, we think, well, gee, we border California, but let's face it, San Diego's a long way away. And so in order to make it more palatable to people to ship their cars all the way to Oregon, we've made it a week-long event. So you can sign up for the annual experience, which is a great experience by itself, which is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's August 27th through the 30th. And then followed by, we have three separate groups that will do 3 separate areas of driving. One will be at Sylvie's Valley Ranch, which is a 140,000 acre ranch in Eastern Oregon. So you'll go there for 4 days and hang out at the ranch, and everybody watches Yellowstone. It's kind of Yellowstone in Oregon. It's just a spectacular place, and you can hang out at the ranch. You can drive into the national forest. You can drive over the mountains. You can drive through the desert. I mean, it's really, you got to kind of get to pick one of the 4 or 5 drives that we have lined up for you. And then another drive of Drive Oregon is to drive into the Willamette Valley, where of course the vineyards are famous, and you'll be driving when the grapes are getting ripe, and just a tremendous experience. And then we have a group that will stay at our host hotel for Drive Oregon, the River House in Bend, and we will drive more of the Central Oregon roads, which are famous for drivability and scenery. So you can make it a 4-day event and do the welcome reception, the Mercado. We have a lot of Ferrari official merchandise coming from the Ron Tonkin Gran Turismo, which is our dealership sponsor and the oldest Ferrari dealership in the country. And then the next day will be our full day of the Concours, which you were talking about. Leslie Blinn is the national chair. We have a lot of historic racing cars that will be with us. Once again, a first is that it will be held on a Ferrari Club of America members' home.
Cool.
Erik and Brianna have over 150 acres, and they have graciously allowed us to use their place, and a beautiful lawn and lake and mountains, and it's just an incredible location. Very private. Their driveway is almost a mile long, paved
Oh, wow.
to the field. And so we'll have a jazz band, the Dan Ballmer Jazz Band, which is very well known really on the West Coast, will be playing. And so we think that'll be a great experience for folks. And then on Tuesday, those that are doing the track will go up to the Oregon Raceway Park and the rest of us will do pleasure drives. And usually the annual experiences have pleasure drives that will last 2 to 3 hours and might cover 50 to maybe 100 miles at the most or less. And they're fun drives. Because Oregon is so majestic and there's such a variety of places. I mean, everyone knows about Crater Lake. Some people know about the Painted Hills. Other people know about Smith Rock State Park, one of the internationally known climbing places where people climb rock faces. It's a spectacular gorge. The Crooked River runs through it. And so we have a lot of different places to drive in different directions. So we actually have a drive to Crater Lake. We have a drive to the Painted Hills. We have a drive to the Santiam McKenzie Pass, a spectacular mountain top type of drive. And then we have a drive on Tuesday to Oregon Raceway Park for those not actually tracking to go and see a Ferrari Challenge team exhibition. We actually have a Vital Speed Motorsport Ferrari Challenge group that will be there with their cars. We'll have, of course, a pleasure lap, a fun lap for people to go on. And we'll have lunch there. And then the thing that really is setting this annual experience apart from others is our guest is Derek Bell.
Right.
Bell, of course, is a world famous driver. He won Le Mans 5 times. He's been twice world sports car champion. And when we talked to Derek almost a year ago, he said, you know, guys, I'm a member of the Ferrari Owners Club here in Great Britain, the same type of club as we're in, even though it's a little different name. And he said, I've always wanted to go to the Ferrari Club of America's annual experience.
Nice.
He said, I drive a 550 Maranello. He said, I love Ferraris. He said, my career started with Enzo Ferrari, which a lot of people don't know. And he said, so I'm going to come for the whole time if that's okay.
Wow.
And I want to drive, and I want to be one of the guys. And so, yeah, I'll give my talk and I'll do anything you want me to do, but I just want to be there and have a great time. So Derek's coming in on Sunday and he'll be there till Thursday morning.
Wow.
Nice.
He's
one of our members has graciously offered him a 48-piece Aperta to drive. It's a spectacular car. And Derek is just over the moon coming. And he told us this spring, he said, my schedule's real busy. Needless to say, here's a man who was driving a 917 at Le Mans just a couple of weeks ago, an exhibition. And of course, he's invited all over the world to be at events. And he said, I have scheduled my summer around your annual experience. He said, don't worry, nothing. He says, I've already turned down multiple offers in Europe, and I'm coming to your place, and we're going to have a blast. So that's
Can that same person get me a 488? Could be a base car. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just a regular car, right?
Just a regular. I don't
Ferrari.
ask for much.
This is not a regular. Yeah. So anyway, Derek Bell it's not that he's just coming to give a talk and you might be able to, say hi to him. He's actually going to be part of the experience. He's going to go on both. He's going to go pleasure driving both days. So Tuesday he'll be at the track, and there's a really good chance that he'll be driving an historic Ferrari on the track as an exhibition. And then on Tuesday later in the afternoon, when we get back to the convention center, there'll be a brew fest, and Derek will be signing autographs. And then on Wednesday, we do more pleasure driving. We do our competition rally. And again, the pleasure drives will include the Painted Hills. We won't be doing Crater Lake because it's too long just to do a half-day drive.
Right.
But Hills, we'll be going to Smith Rock Park. We'll go through the Santiam McKenzie Pass again. And so we'll also do a high desert excursion. Some people might say, well, I've driven enough and I just want to get on a bus and go around and see some cool places. So we have a bus tour for the central area around Bend and the lava fields and things of that sort. So there's a lot of different things going on. Wednesday afternoon, Derek will give his formal talk. And he's got great stories. I mean, geez, the guy's been professionally driving for 50 years. And he's met everybody, been everywhere, won everything. And like I said, the first couple of years with Enzo, he knows the man, he knew the man, and just full of great stories and very personable. And so to me, that's just a real treat that you'll never get. I mean,
Right.
okay, let's go
Yeah.
spend 4 days with Derek Bell. Well, it's not going to happen. This is
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday night we have our reception and awards banquet, and so Thursday then the Drive Oregon would start. So some people will go home Thursday, and other people will stay on for those extra days for more driving. And
Wow, that's amazing. That is so many events you've offered in such a tight window that is great. Someone can go there and experience all aspects, and Derek Bell's like the icing on the cake, right? I mean, it's just incredible.
Exactly. I mean, it's one of those things that you wonder as you're putting something like this together, are you kind of hitting the mark? Are you bringing something that really is a unique experience to the members? And the fact that Derek Bell said, I've scheduled my summer around it. I mean, here's a man that is wanted worldwide, and no, he's going to come hang out with us. And then another was that there are some really unique Ferrari collections in the Northwest, and I won't get into names because that's not really appropriate in this setting. But one of the best known collections, the owner actually registered himself to the annual experience, and his car guy had to call me and say, so I need to find out where we're going to what cars to bring. I mean, and
Right.
so excited about coming.
What do you want?
He went ahead and registered, and he's bringing cars. And again, you'd have to go to maybe 5 or 6 world-renowned concours and drives to actually see this gentleman and his cars. And he's coming here because he's so excited about what's happening in the Northwest. And then just a couple of days ago, we were told by Cavallino that the magazine that is really, I think, maybe the top international magazine in Ferrari today, owned by Canosa, but Massimo, their Delbo, their editor, is going to fly in from Italy just to be with us, so he can write an article about our concours and our event that will be a 4-page spread in the Cavallino.
Wow, that's really great. It really speaks to
it's that kind of statement from other people outside the club that have said, we're so excited about what's happening, we want to be part of that. And all I can say is for the members in the Ferrari club who think Oregon's a long way away, or maybe had some bad feelings because what had happened in the past couple of years, we're in Eastern Oregon on the east side of the Cascades. This is, as I tell people, this is cowboy country. We went out with 14 Ferraris this weekend at we drove probably 500 miles, and all we got was high fives and people wanting to take pictures of the cars, and it's just a very Ferrari friendly place.
So no one ran into an elk or a grizzly bear or anything like
no,
that.
we saw some deer, and but no, although we haven't hit anything yet animal wise, but we have animals jumping over cars over the years. We've had some mountain sheep, and we've had some muleys that have taken flight coming off the side of ridges.
Well, I tell you what, I am super excited to visit. Unfortunately, I can't be there the entire time because I have to be in Monterey and I only have so many vacation days, but I committed to Leslie. I'll be there on I think I'm coming in on Saturday, staying at the Host Inn, which looks
River House.
which looks absolutely beautiful. I showed a picture to my wife. I'm like, you got to come. This is
they
awesome.
did a $30 million renovation about 6 years ago and just knocked it out of the park. And so I was really excited to see, and their attitude is, we can do. And they said, listen, we have other properties, and if we need to bring extra people in to keep the service up to where it needs to be, we'll do that. And they said, if you want to do anything, you let us know, and we will try to make it happen. So we've got a 12,000 square foot convention center that obviously we're going to have the band in. We're going to have the jazz band. We're going to have the cars. We've got the Mercado. So, it's very special, very special.
Now, what's the website where people can learn more?
They can go to fca2023.org, or they can go to Northwest Region FCA, which is nwrfca.org. And either of those websites will get you to the registration page.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you covering this with us. I feel like, you know what, there's so much going on. It's worth the trip. Everybody needs to come out and check it out, whether you're a Ferrari person or not. Come out and check out the incredible cars that will be there. Such a wide range of events, something for everyone for sure. I do want to know a little bit more about you personally. So what is your involvement? I mean, this had to be a Herculean effort. And then, what's your favorite Ferrari?
Well, it's yeah, this is actually a long story, and I won't bore people with it. But
You can bore me. Come on.
and in the fall of 2018, believe it or not, we had our annual meeting for the Northwest region, and we had been approached by the national group, the FCA executive committee, about hosting an annual experience in the Northwest. It had never been done, and people that had come up here for whatever reason had noticed how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
Said, we really need to have an annual experience up there. So we talked about it at the annual meet and agreed that we would host it for 2021. And so, within a few months, I mean, that was in October. So a few months was 2019. So it wasn't that far out. It was kind of the normal time to start planning something this large. And I never will forget, one of the members at that meeting raised their hand and said, how can we say we're going to put on a show that's 2.5 years away? We don't know what'll happen in the next 2.5 years. And I said,
nothing big. No.
Yeah, I said, well, as a retired surgeon, I said, life is full of unexpected, but there's one thing that you can guarantee. If we don't say we're going to do it, we'll never do it. And you have to commit years in advance, or you don't have time to set it up. So that's what it is. But I have to laugh because, as we all know, between 2019 and 2021, the world changed. I mean, we all had personal things that changed probably, and then we had this huge COVID-19, and it was like, you've got to be kidding,
right?
And so anyway, so 2019, I went out with my tight group of folks, and we found the venues, and we were going to go into Portland, and we were going to do the PIR, Portland International Raceway, and we had a golf course for our Concours, and we had some drives, and we worked really hard, and then COVID came, and then well, it looked like it was going to slow down. Remember the summer of 2021, it was going to kind of slow down, and then there was all the craziness with all the changes and political changes in the Northwest and other big cities along the West Coast and other places in the country because of all the things that happened. And we got down to May of 2021, about 7 weeks before we were going to have our annual experience. And it became obvious that for several reasons, we just couldn't put it on. One, no one had come out of shutdown to any extent.
Right.
And we talked to our hotel. They wanted to have it, but they said, you're our only big event that year. And they had let all their staff go.
Mm.
So just from a logistics standpoint, it would have been a nightmare. And then about a week before, we were going to have to kind of make or break our decision on, do we order everything that's specific for the annual experience that obviously you never get your money back on? The governor put us in tight lockdown.
Mm.
And it was like, as much as we worked for 2 years and as excited as we were about it, we just said, can't do it.
Right.
And of course, Mont-Tremblant had canceled in 2020 because of COVID. So we canceled in 2021. Then Mont-Tremblant came back in 2022. I will say Sebring picked it up in 2021. Florida had a different feel about COVID, and so they were able to put on a really nice event at Sebring. Tom O'Riordan did that with his group. And so there was an annual experience in 2021, but it was not kind of what had been planned all along.
Sure. Yeah.
And then Mont-Tremblant did 2022, and again we were asked, you guys want to do it again? And we said, yeah, but the situation was such that we didn't think we could pull on a really good event in Portland again.
Right.
So we said, okay, well, the best driving roads are in Central Oregon, so let's just do it in Central Oregon. And yeah, we don't have the big city, but so what? Maybe we don't want a big city. You don't.
Right.
Maybe in today's world, you don't want to take 100 Ferraris in a big city. Probably not. So anyway, we chose Bend, the River House at the Deschutes, like you said, a great venue, and it puts us very close to all the great roads. I mean, within 20 minutes, basically, you're out of traffic and you're out into the wilderness, and so it's worked out well. And then Erik and Bree had joined the club in between that time, and then their place became available for the Concours, which is, like I say, it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. And so then we just had to reinvent the wheel. We found a new venue, we found a new track, we got a new Concours venue, we found new roads. We just, a lot of the roads, obviously, we were going to end up running with Drive Oregon in 2021, which actually we did. We had 132 people and 75 cars.
Wow.
And,
Yep.
and interesting, in that week alone in 2021, we put 90,000 miles on the cars in aggregate.
Yep.
So when people say, well, I've already been to an annual experience and I've done a pleasure drive, and I go, so did the group put 90,000 miles on the cars?
Yeah.
It's to me, that's kind of one way to look at it. It is different.
Yeah.
Our pleasure drives will average about 300 miles, 200 to 300 miles each.
Right. Right. That's
And
great.
We have 4 or 5 a day.
So let me ask you 2 questions. First off, what is the history and significance of the Ferrari that's on your logo there, the number 21 car?
Well, that one Le Mans, it's a 250p, and I believe it's 63. And so the theme this year is celebrating the return of Ferrari to the prototype sports car racing.
That was timely.
We actually picked that, believe it or not, we picked that theme over a year ago.
Wow.
It's because once Ferrari decided to get back into sports car racing, which, many of us in the history of Ferrari realize that's really what built Ferrari.
Yeah.
It was all the wins at Le Mans and wins every place else, at TDF, at Daytona, at Sebring, at the Mille Miglia. I mean, the 50s and the 60s. That's when they ruled the roost. And of course, they quit doing that in 1973 with the 312 PB. And so we felt with the 49P coming on that those 10 years from 63 to 73 were really the golden years of the prototypes of Ferrari racing.
Yep.
And maybe we're seeing the beginning of that again with the 49P. Obviously, winning Le Mans was huge. And we all kind of had to chuckle here because we've been pushing this for a year and a half.
You called it.
So and as people say, well, can't we get a 49P? I said, well, boys and girls, there are only a couple in the world, and so no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But we are working to get some P cars. I mean, we do have a car from 1949, a 166 mm coming. We do a 54 Monza, 250 Monza. With pontoon fenders, so kind of one-on-one car. So we have some very, very special cars that are coming. And so what can I say?
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's where that came from. Yep.
Well, my second question is what is your favorite Ferrari?
Well, I have a soft spot for the 275 Nart.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I love the story. I mean, I'm kind of there are people that know a whole lot about Ferrari that I don't, but I'm a little bit of a historian in the Ferrari world. Let's put it that way. And so for the 275. Nart to exist, I think, is just unique. I mean, obviously, Luigi Canetti asked Enzo, and Enzo said no, and he kind of badgered him. And I need a convertible. I don't like your 275 GTS, so I wanted to that GTB without a top on it, and got Schietti to make the 275 Nart, and he thought he'd sell them, and then he couldn't sell them, and so he ended up only taking 10 to the U.S. and one left in Europe because he couldn't, because they were obviously more expensive than the normal 75 GTB or GTS. And now I mean, I think it's just the epitome of the Ferrari sports car. I mean, it's got the Big 12, it's the 275 with the racing history. It's got 11 cars in the world, and amazingly, we actually have one of those 11 coming to our annual experience.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so that was an incredible gift, really, from the owner to bring
That's
it.
really great. Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Erik. I appreciate you reviewing everything. And again, the website is fca2023.org.
That's correct. Or the Northwest Region FCA, NWRFCA.org. Either one of those will get you there. You bet.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us on the Collector Car Podcast.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and look forward to seeing everybody. If they have any questions, they can reach me, and I can give you my phone number if that's okay.
Yep.
It's 971-241-2614, and obviously I take phone calls, and I think person-to-person conversation is the way to resolve issues. If you have issues about coming, hopefully I can resolve that for you.
Awesome, man. Well, I will see you there in Bend, Oregon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Greg. Look forward to seeing you.